The Walt Disney Company and Lucasfilm's latest Star Wars show that premiered on Disney Plus yesterday, it's called Skeleton Crew, is going to be a bait and switch. Film Threat's Chris Gore revealed as much in a recent post, sharing that the third episode pushes the agenda, much like all Star Wars shows now do, whether they be aimed at children or adults. And when I mean children, I mean like kindergartners and pre-K with their what is it called? Young Jedi Adventure Show, or this one, which is clearly aimed at probably children like 6 to 12 years old. It's absolutely sick. It's absolutely disgusting. And let's just call it what it is. They're trying to groom these children into these disordered lifestyles and are trying to promote these disordered lifestyles as good. And they are using Star Wars to do so. It is truly evil and vile. So I actually did not write this one, but it is over at fandompulse.com. The co-owner, John Delarose, wrote this one. You can read the headline there. Film Threats, Chris Gore spoils Star Wars Skeleton Crew, goes full woke in episode 3 with LGBTQ plus propaganda. So he goes on to talk about how Disney and Lucasfilm have absolutely ravaged the Star Wars brand. He points to the most recent television release with The Acolyte and how it was being helmed by Leslie Headland, and it was pushing all kinds of identity politics, intersectionality, etc., trying to promote witches and all of this stuff and trying to undermine what is good and right and twist it in order to like make the bad people, the people who are doing objectively evil things, trying to make them to be like the heroes and make them to be the ones who are like, oh, they're the just and right ones, when clearly they're doing absolutely awful things. So just see how this entire franchise has been subverted. It's been denigrated. It has been deconstructed, torn apart by the people that work at Disney and Lucasfilm right now. And then he also points out how Amanda Stenberg famously did her little discourse song. And then she went on and like copyright struck everyone. But now we have this latest show, Star Wars Skeleton Crew. He says the show is intentionally aimed at children with the premise of a coming-of-age story of misfit youth who happen upon a starship and get lost in space. It should be a story of camaraderie and fun, but instead, Disney's taking the opportunity to go woke once again and push a grooming agenda on children. And that's exactly what they're doing. Remember, they're doing this in that Young Jedi Adventure where they're pushing non-binary nonsense and evil onto pre-K, kindergartners, first graders, etc. that watch that show. It's truly despicable. The first 2 episodes were released on Disney Plus yesterday, and the plotline seemed innocuous other than the obvious standard Hollywood casting: a black boy and interracial girl, a strong female white girl with no white males among the heroes. It appears as if Disney would be focusing on an action adventure like Star Wars fans wanted, rather than pushing a heavy agenda as they did in The Acolyte. So he's obviously pointing out the DEI casting that we know Walt Disney Company has, because they publicly post it on their Reimagine Tomorrow website. In fact, they are actually have a complaint filed against them by America First Legal with the EEOC. Obviously, the EEOC has not taken any action on that, but I'm hoping that we will see action taken once the Trump administration comes in and Disney really has to pay the piper for their, what I think are illegal hiring practices, because they hire people based on race and gender and all other kinds of identity, which are supposed to be illegal here in the United States. Anyways, though, this is what Chris Gore said from Film Threat. He wrote this on X. I agree. Skeleton Crew is a fun and solid Star Wars show for kids. In episode 3, you'll meet the parents and learn one character has 2 moms. They just can't help themselves. Modern messaging. What? I'd have preferred they kept the parents out of it altogether. So there you go. It is a bait and switch. They're going to be promoting these disordered lifestyles. They're going to be trying to show it as something that is good. It is not. It is not good. It is disordered. It should not be tolerated or accepted. That is the teaching of the Catholic Church. They should be showing this as what it is. These people should be shown, they should be getting told what for. There should be some maybe potential form of them coming to realize what they're doing is wrong. They repent, and then they go on their way and do something that is actually good. And that should be how this is depicted. You know that is not going to be the case. They're going to try to glorify this disordered relationship, and that is what they are going to do. Make no bones about that. And then John also says, this critics have also noted that the little girl Fern, played by Ryan Kiera Armstrong, has a lot of girl boss tendencies in the first couple of episodes. She derides the boys for being boys constantly, and the boys can do little to fight back over then act haphazardly. Fern and her female friend KB are shown as highly competent, smarter, and more adept than the boys at every turn. Because of course they are. Of course they are. This is Star Wars run by Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy, and it's all about the Force being female, pushing that feminist agenda, pushing obviously these disordered lifestyles here as well. Well, the show had promised in these first 2 episodes with a plotline that actually felt like Star Wars for once. The revelation of having lesbian parents involved for one of the children comes as a shock. I don't think it comes as a shock at all. That's not shocking. This is Lucasfilm we're talking about. They're putting non-binary characters into the kindergartner shows. They're putting this agenda into their animated stuff. It's all over. This is what they do. It's totally degenerate. They're pushing transgender ideology into their comics. It's all over their encyclopedias. I mean, this company is an absolute woke nightmare, and everything that they touch has the woke agenda in it. Even Jon Favreau's The Mandalorian series. I know a lot of people like that, but I've been critical of that show from the very beginning. I think we saw that in the beloved episode, the final episode of season 2. You see Boba Fett get humiliated by the WWE wrestler who's playing another Mandalorian, basically knees him in the crotch, and then they come to a stalemate. It's utterly ridiculous. Boba Fett should absolutely crush her. And then they have the cringe Avengers female Force triangle formation, just like they had in Avengers. Obviously, Gina Carano's in there, but it's clearly all female, and it's just obvious. It's so obvious that was done on purpose and was done to push that feminist agenda. So it's in everything. It's in everything that this company touches, for sure. So then John goes on and cites this Star Wars theory, noting how he actually liked this show or had positive things to say about it at the least. And he says, this skeleton crew reminded me of myself as a kid to a T. I dreamt of finding a spaceship to get lost in a distant galaxy and navigate the stars. Dreamt of becoming a Jedi someday. Endless invisible lightsaber fights with my dad and friends. Pressures of school, being an outcast, feeling misunderstood, and overall just trying to navigate being a young boy with an appetite for adventure and something more. So far, it's Jumanji, Goonies, Zathura, and Harry Potter in a Star Wars universe. No complaints, nostalgic AF, and made me remember being that age fun. So this is clearly what they're trying to do. They bait you in with all of this nostalgia, etc., trying to pitch you on a good Star Wars story. And what do you get? You get feminism, you get disordered relationships, you get all of this stuff being pushed in this. They're going to try to get you to buy into it because it happens to have a halfway decent Star Wars story, but it's pushing all of these things that are objectively evil and should not be accepted or tolerated. And this is what we're going to get moving forward. I think it's going to become even more subversive. We have to be able to really keep an eye on this. And a lot of people are going to be hoodwinked and fooled by a lot of this stuff. They are going to think that, oh, well, it wasn't as woke as what it was in 2020, 2021, etc. So this is on the right path. But I think that's actually it means it's going to be even more dangerous because it's going to be even more subversive. It's going to be these small things. It's going to be even more kind of trying to normalize it in a much more insidious manner. So it's not as in your face, where it's much more easier to say, like, that's so in your face. You can be like, absolutely not, reject, can say no to that. That's clearly wrong, where it's going to be much more, as I said, subversive, harder to pinpoint, harder to maybe see, harder to maybe identify because of everything else that is surrounding it, high production values, etc., how they craft the story. That is what they're going to try to do moving forward. So we have to be alert for this. Fortunately, Chris Gore here from Film Threat alerting us of what is going on here, that they are clearly pushing this agenda, and the show is a bait and switch. And fortunately, I did not have anything to do with the show. Didn't want to watch it at all, but and I don't plan on watching it because I expected something sinister like this to be in it. And I have no intention of exposing myself to any of this stuff anymore. And I don't think you should be exposing yourself either. You'd probably be better off for it. And there's probably other things that you can do with your time that are much better than watching some subversive garbage Star Wars show trying to push the agenda on you. But let me know what you guys make of this. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable. especially to each other, and to always, always speak the truth.